Hey guys, I am going to try to do this as fast as possible, I promise. Originally, I was going to do a Saleh presser and then video and then a video about One Jets Drive. And after watching the Saleh presser, it was so yawn. You know, it's the morning one, by the way. It is currently around noontime when I'm making this. I guess I should give the day because I don't even actually know when YouTube puts these out. Tuesday? Wednesday? It's Wednesday. So, but because the presser was so, I'll just combine them because I'll roll through the presser real quick. There wasn't much there at all. But first off, I just want to, thoughts and prayers go out to Alex Lewis. He retired today. You wonder what can possibly be going on in his life right now. We know he took that leave. And when you saw Saleh talk about it, you can just see when Saleh was saying it. He just felt badly. But there has to be, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. But I feel bad for him. It can't be good when, he played last year for $5.8 million. The team cut him down to $3 million this year. He had run-ins last year with coach and players, but still came back. He still came back. And, here we are, a year later, and now this. So you wonder what would be going on. I really, my heart goes out to him. I hope everything's okay. When you start passing up that kind of money, he's not considered in NFL circles like an NFL rich, But, you figure he threw away, even if he had a short career, he was good enough to be like a backup on a lot of teams probably. And, what are you throwing away? $12, $15 million more in your career? So whatever it must be, who knows? Maybe he'll get the right whatever, that he needs, and we'll see him back somewhere. I hope so. I really do. Before I went into the Saleh presser real quick, I just did a quick look through the press media just to see if I missed anything. And I saw nothing really of great interest other than an article in the Post, and I forgot who the writer was. And it says, these Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson comparisons have to stop. This writer is ticked off about these comparisons and they have to stop. And I'm thinking to myself, why the hell are you telling us? You think Joe Schmo, Jay from Wilmington, North Carolina, got up one day and said, yeah, I'm going to start this. I'm the one that's going to start this rumor. It's the press that's been doing it the whole time. What the hell are you telling us for? Get control of your own guys. Unless he's talking to his fellow press people. But I don't know who he's talking to, because that stuff didn't start with us. I watching tape of Zach and everything. I'm not good at comparing players. I don't know how people do that. I mean, every so often you'll see a player that really just stands out and reminds you of someone else. But when I see Zach Wilson, I see Zach Wilson. I don't, do I see certain things that could be? I see certain things that look Joe Namath like. I see certain things that look Geno Smith like. I see certain, everything they do is different. And yeah, that rolling and stuff like that, ability to roll right and throw left, Mahomes and Rodgers. But we're not the ones that started that. So talk to your buddies. Leave us alone. Saleh presser, I wrote down here, boring. I'll go through it really quick. Yes, there has been a collaboration between the Packers and the Jets for several weeks now concerning how they were going to do this, what they wanted from each other, how they could help each other. And he says that conversation has been going on with the Eagles, too, for a couple weeks, too. So who's out? He said he didn't have a list in front of him, but as of right now, Tucker is going to be out, Moore is going to be out, and Joyner is going to be out for this week, as of right now. What kind of test is it going against Rodgers? I wrote down here, is it a different look going against the Packer defense? And he said, yep, for the most part, Zach's been going against us, which is mostly 4-3. The Packers show a lot of 5-man and 6-man on the ball. So yes, it'll be a little bit of a different style of offense, basically different styles of offense. And he was asked that, is because we've heard about the similarities, the LaFleur brothers. He says, of course, there's differences because the Packer offense is in its third year, and a lot of it is tailored to Rodgers. So yes, we're going to see things we recognize, but the offense is definitely a lot different. And he gave an example of how the Packers are going to be a lot more shotgun, and much less under center, which we've seen already from the first preseason how many times Zach was under center. Was he worried about the tape and info getting out to the rest of the NFL, these practices within teams? And he said the teams have talked about it, and there has to be a trust between the teams that it won't happen. So I guess that was a concern because he answered the question. Asked about how the center McGovern's doing, he said it's a new style offense, but it fits his strengths. Still learning, but doing well. Asked about C.J. Mosley, how he's doing, and his praise was, he just said he's just an A+, is exactly what he said, A+ man. He's just an A+ man. And the player that they've seen is just an A+ player, hasn't missed a beat. Is it going to be good for Lawson and Becton to go against different guys, different players? And he smiled and he said, yes, definitely. It'll definitely be good for those two guys not to have to face each other for a little bit. And mixed in were 3 more questions about competing against someone else other than yourselves. 3 different questions were asked the same exact way, and we heard 3 of this. That question has been asked a million times, so I'm not going to even go into it. Okay, 1 Jets drive. I don't know how to do this fast. I'm going to try. Between cracking up and grabbing the napkins for the tears, this one will get every single bone in your body. All right? It just doesn't disappoint. It opens up with Corey Davis at home with his daughter, and then it jumps to the field, right to Elijah Moore. And I write down here, this show just pulls at your heartstrings. And, talks about how he works so hard. He says it's, not about competition. It's about a battle to be the best. Then Jamison Crowder chimes in and just says, he's just an incredible dynamic player. And then Saleh said something interesting, and this phrase has always caught my heart, because my mom used to use it every so often, maybe once a year, to describe someone. And when you describe someone as an old soul. And I wrote down here, I remember my mom used to use it every so often to talk about someone. And you could tell when she said it, it touched her. It was a phrase, it was a compliment. But it was a different type of compliment. It was really from the heart. And I looked it up. And what was her name? Carla Marie Manley, okay, psychologist. She said, those individuals who seem to have inherent wisdom and a grounded sense of being in the world, often far more than would be expected for someone their age. And that is exactly how, in my brain, I had the term old soul. And I never, we all sort of probably have the same, when we hear old soul, what that means. But that's perfectly put. And that's how he describes Elijah Moore. From the questions that he asks, he's just so ahead of his years. And you rarely hear that said by a coach. That's just a real big compliment. Moore then goes on to say, when I'm a 10-year vet, I still want to be learning. He just loves to learn. And, thanks God for his grandparents, for his religious beliefs that has carried him. Then he goes on to say something interesting. And he says he doesn't care about how much money. He would rather just be the best, which I think ties in together pretty much. He says he doesn't understand when he hears players say, I just want to make money and have a long career. And then I started thinking to myself, and I don't mean this in a derogatory sense, he's single. Let's see when he's married, and has a child, if he feels the same exact way, or when that first contract comes up. But I will say this, his head is really in the right spot. Regardless if that changes, his head is really in the right spot. And then he said when he's told something by a coach, he'll just look at the coach. The first time he's told something, he goes, all right, go on to the next player. Just go on to the next player. I got it. He says he only has to be told something once, and that's never failed him. He's never had to have a coach come back and continue to remind him about something. He then makes an interesting comparison in a unique way, and he mentions Michael Jordan. And this was for me, another wow moment, because it's something I've always thought about, those like, once in a generation players. And in Jordan's case, depending on how you look at it, many people feel, he is it, And it wasn't that he mentioned Jordan, but just how he said the real greats have this crazy, quirky thing about them. And they do, right? They just have this, they're just a little bit different. They're a little bit different than everyone else. And about other great players. And it's very true. Jordan they have this little distance thing to them, where you just don't seem to sort of know everything, I don't know how to explain it, but I always felt that about Jordan, we found out about this, his love for gambling and his golf and all this stuff over the years, and people he dated back then, or he was married back then, or whatever it may be. It was just the real super great ones. They just have that little quirky thing that's just different. And I was just amazed that he just noticed that at that age. I thought that was really cool. And that they just beat to a different drummer. And then it hit me after watching him and listening to him and listening to other veterans, right? You've heard the veterans talk about him. The ones that went to the same school as him. It was AJ, and I think there was who the other guy was. But anyway, you hear them talk about him. And I've just listened to him. And this voice just went off in my head, and I could be talking out of left field. And I waited about an hour. It's actually 1:15. I'm really blind. I said it was noon. So I've been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes? No. And then he said, and then it hit me. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to say it because that's how I feel. I just have a funny feeling. And I think, how did I put it here? I just think this kid has the makeup to be one of the real special ones in Jet history. And I hope that money is not a reason for some reason down the road we were to lose a guy like this, so we can see it. I just have a feeling that cross your fingers, that injuries or whatever it may be that would sideline a guy that has this kind of attitude, and older veterans that are just saying that this guy is going to be better than me. And these are, great players already that see this in a kid who hasn't, this is before he was drafted. I got a funny feeling that we have a player that is going to go down as one of the best to play for the New York Jets. And again, that was a vibe that hit me. And you guys can take this and field it away somewhere to throw it at me again. I could burn it. I can delete it. I could say, you're nuts. That wasn't me. Look at all the hair on this guy's head. But we'll see. Then the next thing, now they have Elijah Moore. They break into this. Now they're going to go for your heart. Now they're going to go for your heart with Elijah Moore, because that's what One Jets Drive does, right? Next thing you know, he's on a boat with friends and family, right? And he says to his mom, I always paid you back, right? Anytime you gave me money, I always paid you back. And you can hear his mother in the background saying, yep, yep. And then they show her real quick, just sitting there looking at him. And then he takes out one of those Price is Right, those huge checks like the one you saw in, if anybody has seen the Will Ferrell movie Semi-Pro. Remember that guy hits the halftime shot? The half-court shot? And he takes out, they give him that check that's just gigantic. he takes out one of those checks and he gives it to his mom and he says, "Mom, all your debts are paid. We're paying the house off on the mortgage on the house. We're paying every single debt. As of today, you owe nobody anything." And it's a real emotional moment. And his mother is just floored. And then it just, the scene pans around to everybody on I think it was a boat. And because a lot of close-ups. And the next thing you know, they show the two just sitting together, talking quietly, away from everyone else. And, you don't hear what they're saying. It's not, one of those staged. It was just really cool. And again, only one Jets drive could pull that one off. And then it goes to, I think, my favorite Jet player. And I hope the Jets keep this guy for, no matter how he performs, the Jets always keep him. And then it goes to Keelan Cole. The guy is insane, okay? He's blessed with a personality that all of us would die for. I mean, funny. I was just cracking up. And his delivery and the way he does it, it's just so good. It's so positive. He starts out by giving the receivers and the coaches their Power Ranger colors. And one guy's going, "No, I was black. No, I was red. I was blue." And it was just great. Then it quickly goes to Crowder. And Crowder says that, the team has every base covered pretty much. They have the guys that go over the middle. They have the guys that go deep. They have the guys that are short. They have the guys that go short, stay short. They have sideline guys. They have slant guys. They have every type of receiver you would want on a team. And they cover everything. And it's a really good point when you think about, how different Cole is than Crowder and how different Davis is from Cole and how different Mims has a little bit of everything. And that's why I think Mims is going to be great one day. But Barrios, Barrios is Barrios. And pretty much how they pretty much have everything covered. And that was a really good point. And then went back to Cole, and it's talked about how Cole basically has been a mentor to Sims. They spend a lot of time together. And then the scene switches over to LaFleur at a press conference, and LaFleur talks about Mims. And he says, how Mims, didn't have a preseason last year. Forget about the COVID stuff. He just didn't have a preseason last year. And when he finally got in last year, he did perform. He had some really, and we saw it. I mean, I remember watching some Jet guys on videos just like the one I'm doing, just saying, I think this kid's got the goods, And that quickly went to this year, people saying things like, "Oh, I wonder." He's going to be fine. He is going to be fine. But that's what LaFleur said. And LaFleur said, it's his first preseason, had some bad luck last year, but be patient. He's a really good receiver. So that was good to come from LaFleur. And then they go to Corey Davis. And this one, again, is just a real tough one because I know a lot of us know the whole Corey Davis story. He opens up basically saying he shouldn't even be here. And he didn't mean the Jets. He meant a pro football player. He talks about the love he has for his daughter and how his daughter was a very bright spot in a very rough year, and that was a rough year for him. He then goes on to talk about how his first child was going to be a boy named Xavier, and they lost him to a miscarriage, and then his daughter was born, and they named her Xavier to honor her brother. And it then goes in to his brother Titus, who fought, a huge battle with cancer. And at that point, just the way a story goes, you expect to hear a few details, and you don't hear anything. That's it. It just goes on. He refers back to his brother several times, but he just doesn't go there, and you got to respect that. He talked about how they had 4 boys and 2 girls growing up, and they had a very tough upbringing. Again, no details. It just says we had a very tough upbringing. His brother died after a long battle with cancer. And the next day after his brother died, the Titans had a game and Corey Davis played. And when he was asked about it, he said that this is what my brother wanted. He kept telling my sister, you tell him to play. You make sure he plays. And I looked it up real quick. And the first thing you see is a picture of him waiting to go out in the field. And his eyes are just filled with tears. I mean, it must have been, how does a guy go through that? And he plays in the game. They lost, I think, 34-17 or something. And, you know, it just pulls at your heart, man. Said he always looked up to his brother. His brother was a giant to him. Davis was the 5th overall pick by the Titans, which surprised many. Came out of Western Michigan. And then again, he talks about it. Tough upbringing. And then he says something that was just so cool. He goes, he says, I had a tough upbringing. He goes, but everyone has their stories, you know, and you quickly reflect to yourself and you say to yourself, whenever you hear somebody, you know, occasionally you run into a person that says, you know, I've had it so tough. I've had it really, you know, they're trying to explain themselves and for their situation. They said, you know, I've had it really tough. And sure, some people have had it tougher than others. There's no doubt about that. But you know, we all have certain things, I think, in our life that, you know, I'm willing to talk about certain things that have happened in my life that I'm either not proud of or were so hurtful, and I'll go into details about them. And then there's always that one or two things that, you know, and I know it frustrates even my family to this day that I just don't want to go there. You know, you can see that with him. There's just certain things, you know, he hits a certain point and he says it and that's it. It stops. And you have to respect that. And I think we all have that, you know. And if we don't, we have that. Well, we would have that ability if that circumstances arises. But anyway, the guy, he's just a really good dude, you know. And then again, he said when his brothers and sisters were young, you know, there was stuff they just shouldn't have seen. That's how he put it. There was stuff they just shouldn't have seen. So again, no details, that's it. You know, 4 boys and 2 girls growing up in those, you know, rough conditions, and there was stuff he just should not have seen. So again, you know, you wonder. He talks about Zach being a really good kid and with tons of talent and a very hard worker. You know, he mentions how he's going to have his growing pains and he's going to be there for him and help him out as much as he can. Talks about his faith in God and that, you know, has given him a support system to handle all the difficulties that he's faced in life, you know, and to get him where he is today. He then says something at the end that he then says something that just, you know, here's a guy that's a multimillionaire, right? Plays football for a living, has a wonderful home, beautiful daughter, just has a great life, right? And at the end, as he's talking, he says, I just expect adversity. And it just goes to show you, you know, it just goes to show you in life, you know, sometimes we think that financially, you know, that'll make us happy, or it was just a real good lesson in life, you know, the way he said it. And he was real sincere about it. I'm sure you guys will watch it. You'll see. It was interesting. Then the last 6 months is just a highlight reel of the Giants and Jets preseason. And then I get some enjoyment when they flash to next week. And they talk a decent amount. It looks like they spent a decent amount of time with Quinnen Williams. Now, I'm going to say this. I was going to put this in, but I have to because I just found it I get a kick out of the guy. With his big smile and the braces, and man, this guy, he doesn't give a crap, man. You know, if he wore braces for the next 10 years, yeah, big smile. You know, most of them remember as kids with braces. You know, hide your smile or whatever. This guy doesn't give a crap about anything. and it has a few flashes of discussions with him on the couch and his, whatever. And then there's a quick picture. The camera flashes to three photos, three like not paintings, but big, large photos. And the camera stays on it for about 3 seconds and then flashes something else. I go, wait, what was that? So I rewind back and I pause it. And it's 3 pictures, right? And he's posing with a young lady and he's dressed to the tees, man. He's got like no jacket, no sport jacket, but he's got the vest with the shirt and it's gray and white and just this real cool look. And he looks like $1 million, man. And with him is a young lady who has a white gown on that has a slit coming up the side of the gown that doesn't go to her hip. It goes to her waist, right? But classy, very classily done. Not it's very nicely done. And one of the pics is like a shot of her, and she has this like, and it's from the side, and she has this incredible tattoo that goes down her upper thigh that has to be like a foot long, right? And again, very tastefully done, right? But the more interesting I thought was watching Quinnen in all 3 pictures, right? The first picture just shows him smiling, that big smile, that you just love him for. The second picture is a picture of him, giving one of those, when they tell you, look off to the side like you're thinking. That's why I should have a picture of every one of my videos. Oh my God, look at Jay. He is just so smart. He is so deep in thought. Something like that, right? But that's the next picture. And then the third picture is a picture of him that looks like he's going to rip your heart out. And then after that, he's going to kill you again. It's just a killer. He just looks like a killer. He's just looking at you, scares the hell out of you. But anyway, I thought that was really, really cool. But you can tell next week's video is going to be about the lineman. There's definitely a good section of Quinnen Williams. It looks like they shoot to a quick conversation with Connor McGovern. I believe so. Who was it? Greg Rotten. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't remember that. I could be wrong. I think it was McGovern. And then I forgot who. Wasn't Law, because they already did their Lawson thing. Anyway, but you can tell a big part of it is Quinnen Williams. And all the pics too, I wrote here, all the pics too are taken with like a 4-foot stone statue next to him. And it's this animal. It's like one of those, what do they call those things? I'm blanking out, those Greek. Anyway, it's this animal with wings on it, right? And it's a 4-foot statue. I don't know what it is. It was just great, man. It was just great. It's so friggin' him, It's exactly what you would expect from him. It's just off the wall, yet super funny, yet he looks friggin' great. It's really, really good. Just a down-to-earth guy. And I think that's it. That's it. Let's see, how long did we go? Oh my God, I'm scared to look. Oh, not bad. 28 minutes and 40 seconds. So let's wrap this up in 30 minutes. Not less, damn it. And that's basically it. The show is fantastic. The show is great. I don't know what to tell you. When Jets drive, I don't get it. I really should make the videos 24 hours later because, I'm sure I talked up some of the guys like they're going to, what I say, Elijah Moore's going to be one of the best Jets in history. If I don't feel that way, I'll correct it tomorrow. But I don't think so. No, I don't. I don't remember ever a team or a coaching staff or other players or opposing veterans ever talking about a player the way they talk about him. So I just have this kid, and look what the camp has produced. Look at the people that went to camp, what they saw. This is not a secret. And that he's out right now is bothering me. We need this to end. I want to see him on that field next week. I don't want to get off to a season without him. We already did that with Mims last year. I don't want that to happen again. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very, very much, guys. If you can post a like, that would be great. And you subscribe, oh my God, that would be even better. And thank you so much for stopping by. We'll have something else tomorrow, I'm sure. Okay? Have a great day. Thanks.